Hello, welcome back to Terraria. We've got another build episode for you here right now because a man moved in right after we finished the guide house. So, there's my cameraman jumping crazy. So we've got the archer now, Jack, and we need to give him a place to live. So what we're going to do is, outside of the guide's house over here, we're going to build a nice, cool archery range. So let's get about it. Now, one of the things I want to add to the archery range is sand. I figure, sand down on the ground, it's a nice kind of thing to have for the archery range, because you basically want a nice flat land that looks like it's like the floor of a range, but I think sand's going to work quite well for the floor of the archery place. So we're going to build quite close because we don't want the whole village too spread out. I want people to be able to get to different buildings quite quickly. So we're just going to start by digging out an area here next to the guide's house. Now we're going to fill in this water. Oh, still got a worm in there. Let's just dig him out. Mischief managed. So we want to build an archery range, and I want to use, I think, probably, where is it? Yeah, the grey brick for this archery range. So we're going to have it about this length. I think that's quite a cool length for us to use. Now the archery range can double up as a place for us to come and test our weaponry using a combat dummy. So I'm going to put down an edge to the archery zone. In fact, I'm going to dig out another layer of dirt as well. Oh, the water comes back, it seems. And I'm going to build a thin layer of this brick. Like that, and clean up the floor there. There we go. And I'm going to build this grey brick over here just a little bit more, because before anything, the archer himself needs actually a shack to live in. And also, something I noticed after the last build was that I didn't put down dynasty wood here. So we're going to put that down right now. Bam. It looks a bit out of place, but that's okay. That's okay. And we'll put down a wooden door here too. Looking pretty good. So, let's continue. So an archery shack. What are we going to build that out of? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. We could have a little slab hut, but I like the idea of it being a wooden kind of crummy little shack. So we're going to go for basic wood here, not dynasty. That's a bit too good looking for what we've got planned. And it's going to be 2 blocks thick. It's going to be big enough for an NPC to want to live in here. And I think this should be about the right size. It's a bit cramped, but it's just an archery shack, so the guy shouldn't have too much trouble living here. And again, we're also going to use dynasty shingles, and the red ones are what we've got in our hand. So we're going to maintain that look. Like this. And we're going to flatten it off there, which is not quite peaked, but I don't want it to be 100% truly peaked. We're going to flesh out the inside a bit as well. Now, instead of having an attic like we have with the guide, what we're going to do is we're going to just flesh out the dynasty shingle just a bit and have it be a solid roof. And this gets us by a few problems. Namely, just what do we do with that empty space? Because this is just an archer's shack. He lives here and he has a good time here, but all he really wants to do is shoot bows. And we're going to give him a wooden background here. Because again, it has to be a completely fleshed out, walled off area for it to be livable housing. I'm just going to dig away some of this wood so that you can actually get into the shack. Oh, in fact, I've got an even better idea. What if we put down the wood, but instead of... okay, let's just trim this up a bit, actually. And we'll add some more shingles here. There we go, looking pretty good. Now, instead of actually giving doors to the wooden shack, because I want this to be somewhere where the NPCs can kind of come and go and not feel too much like a solid building, but more like just a raised, stilted kind of hut. We're going to use actuators to create that feel. But it kind of doesn't look okay. No, we're going to have to abandon that idea, I'm afraid, and trim up some of these actuators using the wire cutters. There we go. And yeah, it looks like we're going to have a proper solid wooden door here, which is still fine, I think. There we go, one side. But we can actually leave the other side open. And I think that's what we might do. I'm not sure if actuators act as an actual wall, but it's worth it. It's worth testing out. So we'll put down a wall here, put this back down. We'll flesh out the background over here. Put down some more actuators. Activate them. And now we're just going to put in like a simple wooden table and chairs because it's just the archer's place. We don't want this to be too flash. And a table. Perfect. And now with a torch down, does this become livable housing? Let's find out. We'll put a candle on the table actually because that's a neater way of doing things. And now housing test. Housing querying. Housing query. This room is missing a wall. Okay, so actuators, when they're open, do not function as walls for NPC housing. That's okay. That's fine. So we're going to go in, put back some wood. Use the wire cutters first to get rid of the actuators. Use the pickaxe to get rid of the wooden wall. And then we're just going to put in a backing wall with, again, whoops, a bit too far. With a wooden door down at the bottom. Now, to keep this whole thing looking like an actual hut, we're going to dig out the back wall, like this. And we're going to do two things. We're going to use wooden beams to make it look like they're holding the building up. Going to put those here. Also going to hammer that wood so that it looks a bit more smooth. Add some wooden walls behind that. Oh, now hang on a sec. Because we've made the wood sloped, the beams don't quite connect the way they should. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, tinker around with this until we get the look that we're happy with and something that looks a bit more consistent and kind of, you know, something that looks good. So like this. Put this back to normal. Perfect. And now with a bit of wooden background here. Yeah, we have a look that looks a bit more like a held up wooden house. But you know what? We're going to get rid of that and that, just because I think I prefer this more squared off look. And now because an NPC can't live in a place with no background wall, we're going to cheat a bit, and we're going to use glass wall. It's not going to look perfect. And bam! Now it looks like a kind of an open shack where the archer can live. Now there's a few other things that we need to put inside this hut to make it look like an archer would live here, and that is a weapons rack. Now there's only swords, spears, helmets, carpentry, and blacksmith, so there isn't really much in the way of like an archer rack. Oh, Daniel the Knight. Well, we know that this works as a house now because we've got another NPC that wants to move in. So let's take a search through the items list and see if we can find anything that looks like archery. So, bow. We could put a bow statue in here. That would look pretty cool. There's a goldfish bowl. Agnor's bowl. Yeah, but there's not much in the way of, like, bow decorations. So let's see. Archer. 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 Ancient archer. White cultist archer's banner. Archer's helmet. Archer's greaves. Archer gloves. Archery potion. There's not much in the way of like actual decorative archer furniture. So instead what we're going to do is just go to the weapons rack and we're going to put, I think spears are kind of like archery. So we're going to put, we can't put a rack of spears down because again, we're blocked by the fact that we have the wooden beams in here because they function as, you can't actually put down furniture over wooden beams. It kind of sucks, but I guess it works. What we're going to do is, I think instead, we're going to break the candle. We're going to put the spear rack on top of there. Bam. And we're going to put down, I think, probably like a tiki torch or two. Tiki torches kind of scream to me archery. So we'll put one there. And there you go. That is the hut that works for the archer. Now we're going to do the actual archery range itself. So we're going to put down some sand, of course, the sand that I prepared earlier. We're going to put down in this little area here Now, this doesn't have to be a space where the NPC lives, so we're going to put the grey brick in the background here. And when I say background, I mean we're going to build the back wall here. We're going to use some grey brick wall, or are we going to use fence? What if we do... Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. It looks a bit too intense, a bit too heavy duty to be the backing wall for the archery range. So I think we're probably going to use fence instead. We're going to have a dig through for a nice looking fence. Now we could use iron fence or lead fence. I'm not sure about those. Maybe just a plain old wooden fence, because I don't want to get too advanced for where we are at this stage of the game. And we're just going to put down some wooden fence behind it all. There we go, it looks pretty good. We're going to use actuators to make the backing wall something we can run through, because otherwise this could get pretty annoying. We're also going to use some more fence, some of the iron fence, to top off the archery range at both ends. And this is going to hook into the backing wall. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try and actuate the wall here and see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's got the feel of an archery range out the back here. And so what else are we going to do now? What we can do is we can go into the menu, find the combat dummies. And I think because target dummies are, right, so target dummies are furniture, but they can go in front of fences, which is perfect for us. We're going to put one there. And this is the perfect place for you to test out your bow skills. Oh yeah, this looks pretty tasty so far. So we've got the door here to the Archer's Shack. Got the wooden spears in the background that kind of promote the idea that it's the Archery Shack. I think all that's left now is to put down a signpost that says this is the target range. So let's dig up a sign. Looks good to me. Bam. Edit this to say Archery Range. Save. Close. And there we go. It's all looking a lot more complete. What we're going to do is we're going to chop up some of this stuff in between the archery range and the guide's house. We're going to fill in some of that fence to keep it looking good. Now, also, I don't want this place to look too haphazard, but I do like the idea of having some background trees. Now, a great way to build background trees, and you might have seen me do this before, is using wooden beams or living wood walls. Like this. And then spraying some background leaf wall. Some living wall. There we go, living leaf wall. And this isn't the easiest thing to do in the world. In fact, getting the perfect tree size can be a bit of a chew. But if you do it right, it can look also pretty frickin' amazing. And there we go, we've got a tree now behind the archery range. Daniel has moved in here, but we're going to let him live here for the moment because actually assigning the archer to move in here might be a bit tricky. And we're going to have people coming to move in non-stop as I build houses. Well, not non-stop, because we're going to get to a limit where we have too many houses and not enough NPCs, and that's when I'll be able to shuffle people around and move them around. But I guess the next episode is going to be when we hit Daniel's house and we get that cool cat, a nice place for him to hang up his swords and armor, since he's a knight. Now, I reckon a nice little kind of tower, maybe not a wizard's tower, maybe like a kind of keep could work out quite well. But if you have any ideas yourself, make sure you pop those in the comments section. I'm going to take a break there, but make sure you keep watching the Terraria series. It's a barrel of laughs, and thank you for your support and for your time spent watching it. Really does mean a lot that you guys are enjoying the series. And again, if you have any cool ideas about what you'd like to see built, whether it's an NPC house, or if you just want to see something really cool built in Terraria for me, Tom, Duncan, and Lewis, if you have any ideas for things we could build, like the underground railway that we built before, do let us know as well, because all these things will make life easier for us. give us cool places to do things. And ultimately what I want is for this whole area to really kind of come together and look like a beautiful place to hang out. The last series, we did some cool stuff, yes, but most of it was just basically a place for functionality. We had the hotel, which was basically like the slums for the NPCs, and it kind of sucked because it didn't look amazing. It was just a building for functionality to put all of our NPCs, but now we have the time, the space, and I'm going full creative for the building. The world is our oyster in terms of what we can build for the NPCs that move in, and there are so many to choose from. We're never going to run out of cool things to build or cool NPCs to build for. So until next time, guys, take care.